Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
Can a church have a profound effect on the community? And what would it take for you to feel good in a spiritual community? Hello, this is Angelscapes, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith. And tonight is joining me Reverend Kathleen Hoffman. Kathleen is a pastor of the First Spiritualist Church of Onset in Onset, Massachusetts, and has been in the leadership role in that church for over 20 years, dedicated to the development of the Spiritualist religion. She's well known through New England and other states and countries, and she has conducted many talks on radio, television, and news. Kathleen's a delight to listen to. She's dedicated her life work to the human services field, empowering adults and children of all ages to open up to their highest potential and life's purpose. So Kathleen, welcome.
Thank you.
It's so nice to have you on. This is I've been so excited and pleased to be interviewing the spiritualist leaders in the New England community, especially the pastors of the church. And I know you've worked really, really hard at the Onset and has a terrific community. How did you get involved in spiritualism?
Well, is it by accident or is it really guidance, right? So I was led here, like most people are, that don't even know there's a church in this little town. And a couple of friends of mine had heard about the church, and one came, and we would always go and get readings. So this is back in the 80s, early 80s. And she found Gladys and Kenneth, who pastored the church for about 50 years. And so she said, get a reading by Gladys. So I went over to Gladys, and she says, oh, my hand is hot. You're a healer. Go over to the church over there, and you can do healing. So one Sunday I came, sat there, and Kenneth, without even knowing, she said that to me, will you come up here and heal? So I looked at everybody and I said, okay, I think I could do this. And it started there. But before I got here, I was led by people that knew about the church.
Okay.
And so Infinite was giving me signs, like everybody else gets a sign to go somewhere and to be, yeah.
And you were led there. And never looked back, I guess. So
never looked back.
When did you start your ministerial training?
I started that probably in 1994 under a non-denominational, but then I became certified under the Onset Spiritualist Church.
Yeah,
which is non-denominational.
Well, yeah. It's just been your community is thriving. Now, let's talk a tiny bit about the history of the Onset Church. You said it started out as a summer camp or a summer church at first in 1903 or something?
Yeah, well, and it was 1903, October, 21 people petitioned the Commonwealth to start a church, and then it became chartered in December 7th of 1903. And so Gladys and Kenneth came along, and they pastored the church for about 50 years.
So when did they come along? Were they since 1903 to 19?
No, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. It's in the 50s. They started coming in into the 1960s, and they actually were jetted out in different places. They started in people's homes and so forth, and then they came and pastored the church. But the first part, when they were doing it, it was just July and August that it was open. And then we have an adjacent to us, the same religion, the Wigwam, became the summer camp, and the church became year round.
Okay, beautiful. So in 1903, they kind of just were different people's homes and stuff. But
it was a spirituals camp. The whole in the temple, actually, there was another temple, a spiritualist church community, it started in 1800s. The whole community here was a spiritualist camp. So they started, like in most places, they did seances in their houses, and then they started the church, and it went from there and just blossomed.
Wonderful. Wow.
And this was the church that was in Onset that they founded, and then the wigwam is also the same religion too. And
Was the wigwam attached to the Onset church? Or are they two separate churches, or what?
There's two separate churches, but the wigwam isn't it's
only
the same
summer.
religion, and it's the summer
Spiritualist, yeah.
camp. But they're under the national
The
Spiritualist
Spiritualist Nationalist Union
Yes.
is a big a parent company to spiritualism.
Yes.
But is the Onset Church under the Spiritualist Nationalist Union?
Gladys and Kenneth originally was under the national, but then they changed, and then they went under the American Federation, and then they decided to become independent. They were very advanced beings, and they were more liberated, and they wanted to make the calls of their church and so forth. So they became independent. And when I became, and we kept it that way. We honored a lot of the teachings and so forth of them. They were.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you did. I have just for clarity's sake, that the different leadership churches in the day that Onset has belonged to, it was first the Nationalist Spiritualist Association of Churches.
Yeah.
And then it was the American
Federation
of Spiritualist Churches.
Yeah.
And then you became independent.
Yes.
There are a lot of parent groups out there.
Yeah, there's a lot more independent churches now.
Okay.
Not that we will always honor the national, we have to, honor all the teachings in whatever organization, whatever they felt drawn to do and why they felt drawn to become independent. Perhaps it was because of different belief in reincarnation or just different things. They were a little bit more advanced than that.
Oh, I understand. And but this way Onset is so fascinating to me is because the tremendous growth that it went through over the years. A lot of forward thinkers and things like that. And yet we still, just to tell the people who are listening, you still have the same spiritualist principles. The service is still very much the same as every other spiritualist.
Yes.
Everyone has their little variances, but every other spiritualist service, it's the same principles, the healings, the mediumship, proving the continuity of life goes on in your church as much as any other, as the other ones.
Sometimes in other churches, the principles may be spoken in a different way. And our pastor, Kenneth Custins, they had put an extra one in 10. We have 10 principles actually.
Oh, what is the 10th principle?
And that's when where love is the most powerful of all.
Oh, I love that.
Of all, which is true, So that was an important one that he had put in.
What was it like? It sounds like you mentored with them or worked with Kenneth and his wife. What was her name?
Well, no, they were Gladys Kenneth.
Gladys and Kenneth. Yeah.
And you can look them up online to this day. They were renowned harpists. There was a trio of them. They taught how to play the harp, and they had mentored this young woman for a while, and they became a trio. And we had a beautiful golden harp here at one time. When Kenneth passed, there was nobody else to play it. So we actually sold it to somebody in England, or I don't know if we gave it away or sold it because they were very connected to the UK. Both Gladys and Kenneth had a lot of connections there. So they were, they also, taught, and they had classes every Wednesday night. They did so much for the community. So we still, since I came on, we still do. We pretty much carry on the same ways.
Oh, I know you do. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So then after who came in after they did? And then when did you come in?
Well, Gladys and Kenneth. So Gladys passed probably in She was 86. And Kenneth passed, I think, in the 70. I can't the dates all at that time. No, 2000 he passed. So at that time, he was incapacitated, so he was in a nursing home. So we had assigned one of his helpers, Susan Strong, who was with the church for many years, and it placed her as pastor while Kenneth was in the nursing home. And then I was placed as co-pastor to Susan, an assistant pastor. So for a couple of years I did that, and then they nominated me to be pastor. So that was probably in 2000 when that all happened, when I came in.
Yeah. Wow. And you were drawn to it. You were called to it. You answered the call.
Yes.
And you have trained a lot of mediums and a lot of healers through your church. Tell me.
We've had a lot of, like we were talking earlier, a lot of folks have come through, and, not everyone follows, not everyone stays on the course, stays the course of that for whatever reasons, and it's okay. We get busy or something happens in people's lives, but we are getting now, after all these years, I have 4 students that are certified through the church, and we have at least 11 more that will be coming along the way. So that's really exciting. And
that's very cool. Yeah. So what keeps you going? I mean, you're building a beautiful community, and it isn't just about building the certified mediums or the healers. There's many people that come, and I've served at your church a number of times. The chairs are pretty full, and people are getting a lot out of it. What is it that your church brings to the community, do you suppose?
Well, see, oftentimes I think people come, to us when they're sort of like if they were a tree, their branches are broken, and that would be their loved ones are they're missing their loved ones, and they're solemn, and they're searching either to know what this is all about, what the world's all about, or they want to, find out how they can get in touch with their loved ones. So when they come here, they're open and they're reaching for something, and it's a pull. I was drawn here. I love it here. I feel peace here, is what we hear. So we help educate them that oftentimes people think they need to go to a medium to talk to their loved one, and we tell them, you don't have to. You have guidance, and so you can learn how to develop. And so so I like to think that we uplift and help them to find the answers to what they're looking for. And a lot of it, most of the time, people have been through a lot. So this can be a solace and comfort to them. Solace and comfort, I think, what we offer, and education, so that they become empowered. And they don't feel so helpless and lost in the world.
I hear what you're saying. I feel that the Spiritualist church is really interesting in the fact that it's older people come, and it's usually people, like you said, the branch is broken off, or they've been wounded or hurt in some way, and they want to understand, what is life and death all about? What is this about? And somebody told them, I do mediumship over there. But you're right. I love that your community and you yourself talk about, you too can hear your loved ones. You can connect to your loved ones. You don't always have to hear a medium.
Right. And we do get younger through the years. We've gotten a lot of younger folks too searching.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Wow. We have I think the average, we've even had a group of teens that were coming for a long time, and they went into their 20s. And so it's a variety. It's a variety.
That's very nice.
And I find it has its ebbs and flows, ebbs of groups of people, and they get what they need, and it's a ebb and a flow.
Yeah. So with the ebb and the flow, people come in, they get what they need, and then they go. Who sticks? What kind of person will come in and get the healing, but then they stick around and support the church?
Well, that's hard to say what kind of person it would be.
Yeah.
Maybe a dedicated person. It does take discipline. And I think it's a matter of a commitment. They want to make a commitment to a group of like-minded people that are thinking the same way they are, and they want to help. It's amazing how you can develop as a person in this type of an atmosphere, because
Oh,
it's
yes.
not just about mediumship and healing, it's healing inside through the principles, through the education that you get. You learn about your chakras, you learn about so much. How do you communicate? Oh, you mean spirit talks to me? You know,
Yeah.
how do I connect? And when they start developing and see that they have a gift also, it's like they want more.
Yeah, there's so much.
And
It's so deep. It's so deep. Yeah.
yeah, and then once they get it, Nancy, they have an opportunity, like us, like all of
Mhm.
us, to now take themselves and go out in the world and do it themselves for other people. So
Mhm.
when they go through the courses and everything else like that, they get to serve other churches, they get to be part of the circle or teach or whatever it may be.
So we have you have a basic level teaching of somebody who's come in and is just in shock, or and you teach them. We as spiritualists, we teach them their life does continue on, and there is
Yes.
healing, and then those people can come and go and develop, and then you can develop a little further, all the way to developing into serving the community. So you do soup to nuts in your
Yeah.
church.
Yeah,
I like
we
that.
try.
I love that.
We try.
Yeah.
So they can come basically for a Wednesday night development class, or they can take the coursework, which is 25 lessons. It's the United Spiritual Network that was put together by Jason McCush from the Swampscott Reverend, I should say,
Say-
and also
oh,
Mary
yeah.
and myself, more so them. I added what I could put in there, and we teach. We have students and they do the curriculum, and it's work and it's dedication, and it's worth it, you
But
know.
you've seen lives unfold and change through this work.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that must be your
Definitely.
favorite part. Yeah.
I mean, I have myself. You learn so
Mhm.
much, don't you,
Yeah.
Nancy? You
Oh,
learn through
absolutely. Oh,
this.
absolutely.
And I
Totally.
think the biggest thing is you learn that your inner work is so important, because your spiritual self is your higher self, you know, the
Mhm.
self that can do the principles and follow the golden key and the words of being kind and being open, and how we you know, watch what we say and do to others, you know.
Yeah. 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 Now
That's
you've been in people service your whole life. You're a pastor of this church, but you also help people in your
yeah,
private work,
yeah,
your
yeah.
actual work.
So I've been in the same organization since 1991, so 30 something years, but
Wow.
I've done pretty much everything but become director. So I don't want to do that,
Wow.
because I'd rather
Yeah.
I'm hands-on, you know,
Yeah.
and I like to
Yeah.
teach and so forth. Yeah, yeah. So
Wonderful. I'm
it's been a,
so pleased. You have a natural inclination towards helping people and understanding where they're coming from and seeing where their struggles are and reaching them. You have
Mhm.
that gift. I've always felt that about you coming into the church. I remember when I came into the church one time. Not want to give away too much, but there was a young couple there, and they had just lost a child, and I felt it, and I read for them from the platform. We call it reading from the platform. It's just short little notes from heaven of welcome, and I remember just the flow of love and energy and surprise that happened, that brought this young couple some kind of solace. I don't know if they ever
yes.
came back, but talk
Oh,
about what
Kristen.
happens with that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's been so many people, and that's so comforting to be able to you know, communicate and give them information about their loved ones. That's it, to build new branches on them, to give them that hope
Yeah.
after a loss, you know, hope that there is a continuity, that there's no dead, no dying, that we will go on. I think
Mhm.
that in itself is, you know, beautiful, you know, that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
And then coming into whole. And so I'm curious to know how you would answer this, but what are the things that you as the pastor and then your leaders in your board, your directors, what are the most important things that you need to keep in mind when you're doing a church service or when you're reaching out to people, knowing that that many people are coming in with broken branches? Well, what's the first thing in your thought, or what's the leading behavior?
Well, I think that upliftment, raise the energy. Because if somebody's sad or it uplifts and brings comfort. That
Mhm.
to uplift, bring comfort, solace, And we do this in the various ways of how we conduct our service through the hands-on healing. Oh my goodness, there's nothing like sitting in a healer's chair. Oh my God, it's a gift and it's free. And then we sit in meditation and reflection. And the lecture is usually uplifting and educational. And then the topping on the cake is the mediumship and the proof of that. And then we sing in the songs. And so it's like a common of inspiration and upliftment is the way we'd like to have it. Yeah.
There's also a part that we don't talk about this too much is the lecture, there's certain prayers and there's certain readings that are kind of educational and helpful to people. And how do you have a lot of guests that come in that give lectures, but what's your favorite thing to talk about when you're on the platform?
For me personally, anything that can help somebody, any normal everyday emotion or situation that we deal with, and to help another recognize that they can transform out of something that they're in. So again, I think it's inspire and uplift. And along with it comes education. If you're helping somebody, I never thought of that before. I never thought of, so it's an awakening, I think we're hoping for.
Yeah. Beautiful. So let's go back a little bit into your personal journey. You came and got a reading and as Gladys said, you're a healer and you went to the church, and then Kenneth said, get up there and start healing. You're like, what am I doing? But you kept up with it. So did you stay in the healing? Did you become a medium? Did you tell me about what kept you in it?
What kept me? Well, actually, I was starting to lead that path anyway prior. Actually, I had spoken to a woman that was at the church here and called her one night because I started to come to the development classes. And at night when I went to go to sleep, I closed my eyes and I would see all these kind of scary skeleton faces and things like that. So I called in despair, thinking, what's happening to me? Why am I seeing this? And she explained to me that those are souls that are coming to you for healing. Pray for them. So I thought, one thing led to another. I went to my first Reiki and I got certified as a Reiki. I did Reiki 1, 2. I went through all through teacher. Everything was in hypnotherapy. I did all the metaphysical. Actually, I have to stop and say here, whatever helped me, I became.
Okay.
So in other words, whatever helped me, I wanted to help another. Okay. So I became a Reiki master teacher, more or less being able to do Reiki on somebody. I became a hypnotherapist because I knew how a person could just let go and heal those pasts and release things and change things in their lives. So it just led me, and I was running 2 roads traditionally, my traditional education and also the metaphysical. And then as time went on, even in the schools today, I can utilize my metaphysical practices using dowsing rods with the kids, talking about your aura and your energy field. And we use the dowsing rods to show them that when they think positive, the rods go out. And when they think negative, the rods go in. And we do. So it's amazing to me after all these years that I can, because I always wished it. Boy, I wish I could bring the metaphysical world into this world. And I have been able to. Luckily, we've had directors that are very open to Reiki and healing and all of it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now you had said, I don't know, I think before we got on that the spiritualist churches, one of the reasons why you went independent is that you had a different belief structure than some of the more conservative spiritualist churches. There were some things that your church brought in that was unique, or not so unique.
I was there. I can't speak for Gladys and Kenneth. I could assume that they broke off because they had different beliefs, maybe. Okay, so I really can't say, but I know when I first started, the first course I started was the Morse Pratt course.
Mhm.
And I don't think at the time, now this is back in the 80s, that they had believed in past lives.
Okay.
So maybe a couple of areas like that where Gladys and Kenneth were maybe more open.
Open. Okay.
Yeah.
And then your Onset church is, you embrace
yeah.
past lives
Oh, yeah,
and
we
things
have it
like
in
that.
our course. Yeah, we have
Okay.
in our course is
Yeah.
numerology, the
Yeah.
chakra system, everything. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah. And I
Anything
say,
that
I,
can
so there's
help.
a number of churches, spiritualist churches that don't embrace past lives. And
Yes.
you're one of the more independent, forward churches that
Yeah.
have a few other beliefs there. That it's kind of amazing to me. There's so much in spirituality and there's so much in spiritualism.
Yes.
But so
Yeah.
much. It's like amazing.
Yeah, there is. And so embrace it all, embrace
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So how do you, this churches are full of people and people are, can be difficult. People are handfuls. They have their own personalities. They have their own healing path that they need to go and learn. And sometimes they learn by experiencing or creating experiences. How do you keep your community going? How do you keep it together?
Well, we've implemented, so one of the things is like what I was sharing with you, what's important in a lecture and what's important for what we do as a board in our church. And that's to educate on giving some tools for people to utilize when they're in difficult situations.
Mhm.
And one of them that we've implemented was the Ho'oponopono prayer,
Right.
which is, so we
Love that
believe a
prayer.
lot in transformation. Forgiveness is the key. So, and all that's in natural laws. Spiritualism, it believes in 100% of that. We're based on natural laws. So it's teaching that, so that when somebody is perhaps arguing with another, and I have to do it myself, and I think one of the best things I like to do is, I'm human too.
Yeah.
I love to lecture on like maybe things I've done and how it can shift by using spiritual practices.
Absolutely.
And so, we're all human, we're all going to fail, we're all going to, but it's empowering somebody to say, okay, you fell, you failed, but now we can get back up again.
Mm-hmm.
So the door to reformation on the earth plane or in the spirit side is never
Never
closed.
closed.
We can shift and we can change at any time. And that's very important. And we also say the tube of light mantra, which Saint Germain, the violet flame.
I love
We
that
use
prayer.
that.
Yeah.
So anything that can transform anyone. So it's a gift to give it to another. Maybe they hesitate. Oh, I don't believe in that stuff. Or why don't you try and see how? And then people come back and say, it worked. It worked.
I love that.
They might have had a
Yeah.
discord towards somebody and they used the prayer, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you. And things have changed for them.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. I love hearing the stories. I love hearing that. Good. What you're working and you're running a church. What keeps you going? What keeps you nurtured and motivated?
Well, as it turns out, and what we like the astrology and we just had what they call the human design. You might want to have Ellen King about that, because I found out through astrology and through the human design that for some reason I have an extra energy that other people are going to say, how do you do it? I don't know how you do it, because I do have that extra energy. It's just, it's an inspiration inside of me. It's sort of like a dutiful, and it's also, I don't know, it's like a little, I'm what they call a manifesting generator under the human design. So I generate, I guess. I'm no different than all of us. All of us are those five, there's 5 human designs, and we're all gifted in certain things. I'm not better than anybody else. There's many like me that can just roll.
Yeah,
but
we
I
all
think,
fit together. Yeah.
And I think it helps me to do that. It helps me to utilize the energy I have in a way that I like to utilize it. So I'm inspired for that. I love to create. I love to inspire. I love to motivate. I love all of that. That's
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Do you know, Kathleen, I have done a little human design in astrology, and
Have you?
you know what? I'm a manifester.
There you go.
And I manifest stuff. I think one of the things that I manifest a lot of stuff, and some things I don't finish. But I have lots. I need somebody like you around me that says that's a good idea. Keep going. That's not a good idea. Don't do it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
you.
Anytime.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, you've manifested a lot, Nancy.
Oh,
You gotta
thanks.
give yourself credit.
Oh,
You've
thank you
got
so
books
much.
behind you. You've got this, even the podcast. I mean, that's
So
awesome.
I am so
Awesome.
thrilled. This is beautiful. And to use it to bring I think the details of spiritualism out, the people, the faces, and spiritualism, and I want to talk a little bit about this. It's all volunteer. The pastors don't get paid. People that come in, the teachers don't get paid. It's all through love and inspiration and caring. And that's amazing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, some pastors do get paid a small stipend.
Okay.
So I'll educate you on that.
Thank you, because where
There
are they? I'm
are
going there.
there, there are churches and pastors that do get paid. It's not near what
Yeah.
other, like Joel Osteen or any of those
No.
big people out there at all. But and the people that do the workshops, they get paid half of what
Okay.
they make. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So people
yeah,
do get,
it's
it's
something,
just,
yeah.
yeah, they do get reimbursed for their
I guess what
gifts. And
I'm talking about is how much effort goes into, and how much love,
oh,
and how there's a dedication for even to run a workshop is
yes.
usually it's very affordable.
It's we do our best to keep the prices low as best we can so people can afford to take them. And the board doesn't get paid. The
No,
people
they
that
don't.
help us in the church that don't get paid.
No, they don't.
This fair, this Saturday at the Elks
Ooh.
Lodge, we have so many volunteers. They're not going to get paid.
So let's do a little plug for the Elks Fair. So you have
Yes.
in Onset, it's the Elks. Where
Elks
is it?
Lodge, Wareham Elks Lodge
Wareham.
on 6 and 28. It's going to be Saturday the 8th from 10 to 5 o'clock, and $2 admission, and there's going to be over 20 readers from all different walks of
Wow.
life.
Wow.
And at least I think it's 19 vendors with different goods and
Wow.
so forth.
Wow.
And it's a fun day. It's
that
work, but
sounds
it's a
great.
fun day.
Yeah.
But
So if people went to Church of Onset, it's what's your what could they find where to go to the fair on it? What's the
the
address?
website is the website, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, the website is www.church, number one, not O-N-E, just number one, .org.
.org. Nice. So
Yeah. And everything's on there. Our web person puts everything that we have, that's going on the
beautiful.
website.
Yeah, I often Google Onset Spiritualist Church, and I'll go right to your website. So if people want to find it. Years and years and years and years ago, I remember doing that fair.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that was way back when they did it for the Toby Homestead.
Right.
Or maybe
And
you did it with us. I'm not sure.
I remember driving all the way up to that VFW. So I read 17 people in a row.
The readers read a lot of people.
They
you do up to 22 people.
Yeah. And it was phenomenal. And I remember being so nervous. I was new to reading, and the people test you. Oh, I haven't seen her before. Let's go over and test her. Let's go. Oh my God. Then this one woman came over, she tested me. And I just said, I'm just going to read. I don't even care. And she said, she finally went to me and she said, "You're the real deal. I tested you." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And I'm like,
they don't realize it can be such, we educate people too on how to receive a reading. So when you block yourself like this, or you're, like this at somebody, it's not, open up and be happy. You're going to get the best readings because we work off the vibration.
Yeah, we do. We do. We work off the vibration and the openness of a person. And we also, you got to say yes to a few things the medium brings through. So many times spirit will come through, and they won't be 100% clear to the person you're talking to. It starts with a teeny tiny energy, and then it
Yes.
builds
Yeah.
until the person, but the love and the care from the person listening is so important to help that energy build,
It
to start to
is.
really get the details that you need to know that that's the person, but also the love and the message.
Yes.
But
I teach my students that too. You're going to have the naysayers, so you got to be prepared. So
yeah,
sometimes back in the day, we would have a person give a reading to the sitter, the person that's receiving it, and the person that's sitting, we would just have them do like they might experience and not even give a nod, and just
yeah,
and then tell them at the end, yes, this is correct, this was right. Yeah,
yeah,
it takes a longevity and real training to be able to trust spirit and trust what you're getting.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. I also have read for people, and you could say this too, is sometimes people are so hurt or confused, or
Yes.
I don't know what I'm doing here, and I'm
Yeah.
terrified, and they really can't respond. They're just like,
Yeah.
so you just have
They're out
spirit
of, yeah. Mhm.
wrap their arms around that person and just keep working, and
Yeah.
hopefully
That's
something will reach them.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's after the fact when they're like that. They'll call you or they'll say, "Oh, I know who that was now," and
Yeah, yeah, they didn't know
so
before.
they have
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
it's quite a balance of everything,
it is.
and how to educate those that are receiving the information too. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely. Receiving the information, and also kind of supporting the medium who's giving the information as well.
right?
People, they're human.
We
Don't be
plug
so
in,
hard on them.
yeah.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's so
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah. So, um, you do mediumship and you do healing, and you also do spirit art. Talk to me
Yes,
a little bit
yeah,
about your spirit art that you do.
yes. Well, it all actually started when I was a little girl. I would just draw people's face. I'd always start with the eyes, and then I would do the face and do the body. I wish I had saved all the little when it was around my father's friends or my mother's friends, and then I won a couple of art contests and stuff. And my
Wow.
grandmother was my inspiration. She sent me to an art class, but the art class was a little bit more sophisticated for me, who was shy and so forth, and they had a nude body there, and I not of a, it's just a statue, and I said, I don't think I'm going back there. But
Oh,
anyway,
honey, yeah.
so when I came to the church, I started to do spirit art. I started to do the spirit art, and
Oh,
that was back
beautiful.
in
Back in the
2000, and then just kept on going from there. Yeah.
Wow, I'm so proud of you. Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's great. Yeah. Um, I've heard people talk about in spiritualism. How do you feel about tarot cards? You don't prove the continuity of life through tarot cards or different modalities or astrology or numerology. But I feel like that um modalities can reach people, can give them
Oh,
message.
yeah.
Talk to me about how you feel about that, or what your stand is on those things.
Well, obviously, it's a good stand because we have a lot of tarot card readers at the church that actually do mediumship plus.
Okay.
They read angel cards, tarot. It's just it's a vehicle,
Yeah.
um, an oracle to bring
So
in
yeah.
spirit and to bring in a story. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
And I try to tell people that it's not, it had such a bad rap, like it's the devil and it's
It's not.
all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. And it's very spiritual and very natural.
Yeah.
So we're not opposed to, we may not utilize it. We won't utilize it during church service for sure. And we
No,
just
no.
do mediums day. We just do our mediumship, but we'll do it outside fairs, or if we have a
Right.
fair here,
Yeah.
we'll have, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Now, fairs. What supports your church most? Many churches since COVID. I noticed there were a couple of churches that closed before COVID, then some that closed, during or after COVID. And
Yeah.
what do you think is, keeps churches alive? Well, you stayed active with you doing Zoom
Zoom, yeah.
services and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And I know a lot of people went, and I think I even served on a Zoom service.
Yes, you did. We
Yeah.
got right on it when this all
Yeah.
happened. we went right on it. We just didn't stop because we wouldn't want to lose the connection to people.
Yeah.
So, we being the web person, our web person, because we spent many hours, like lots of hours to figure it all out,
Yeah.
how we were going to do it.
It was hello to your web person.
Yeah.
Was it a group of people or one person or?
No, both myself and her did a lot of it, just to how to figure we were going to do it. And it took, I can't even explain it because there's a lot that goes into it. So your church, each church has a calendar that they have to get, well, they don't have to, but we fill a whole year full of mediums on Sundays.
Okay.
We fill workshops with people. We fill every Wednesday class with new ideas and things to do. So that's a lot of work. So it could be, and then we have every first Saturday of the month, we have Mediums Day. So we have a lot of things that go on that needed to be kept in place still. So we kept our classes, we kept everything going, so that we wouldn't lose the momentum.
Good. And that worked to keep it
and
going.
It worked. Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad.
We've become friends with lots of people that would have to take 2 hours to get to us, that now can go on Zoom and join us, and people are out of the states, in different states.
Oh yeah.
That are still become our friends and members.
Yeah. I was at a service once. You have a hybrid now, so it's Zoom and live, which is very, very cool. And I remember being on there and there was somebody from England watching. I was like, so cool.
Oh yeah, the UK, we've become good friends and connected with a lot of people in the UK, all over. Yeah. Good. So, and it's exciting. So now we can be broad, we can be more expansive. And so, as I think one of the keys for churches is to go with the times, add a little bit of something. You have to kind of open up a little bit with the times, keep up with what's happening so that we don't fall back. And one thing we've never fell back with is our church service and how we orchestrate it, and we stick with the principles, and I don't think you can lose that way.
There's such a warmth in your particular service. You have a binder this thick, but we and the things that you say and that you do, which leads me to my next question. When I sit in service, I feel very comfortable. I feel very warm, and there's a place, we talked about people coming for the first time, usually because there's a really big reason. What do you think helps people to feel safe in a spiritual environment? This is scary stuff for some people. But how do you do that? How do you help people feel welcome and safe?
Well, I think it's the opening, that when we open up, thank you for those who keep on coming, or the new people. If you have any questions, if you're not sure about, please feel free to call, ask, so they know that. And then our church community is pretty nice, that they know to look at the person next to them. They're friendly. So I think it's the welcoming of everybody that's in the church, because I noticed that prior to me, Kenneth used to stand right at the door, and I thought that was so awesome. Kenneth Custins, the prior pastor, would stand at the door and welcome people as they came in. And some churches still do that. I know with this one in Florida that I went to, that they did that. And it's a nice ceremony. And they used to walk people right up to some of those we've let go. But I found, with having to do the Zoom too, that I found that the parishioners are talking to the new people. They're talking to the new people that come in, which is great. They're reaching out,
but they're doing it because there's an environment that as
they
the
feel
leader
free
of the
to
pastor,
do it in.
Yeah, you've created that. Yeah, that's very, very. Do you think how many people are in the Onset leadership team, the board and everything?
Well, we have a small board where we add as we go along. We have at least 6 board members, and so and we've been together for a long time.
A
long time.
Nice.
And so we've kept the momentum and, and it's working. So it's really good. And we have our board meetings and we check on things, and some people do more than the others or because they have the time or whatever it may be, but everybody picks in and does something. There's no board member that doesn't give either insight or action or, everybody does a lot.
Yeah,
Really.
I know that I can see when I get, that
I mean,
everyone's
just
helping.
having our secretary, I mean, she runs the treasurer and the secretary, they get all the apps for the fairs. And I mean, I could go on and on. So it's a lot, it's work. Yeah. But everybody's real, you know, what's so nice about it is everybody's willing, and we don't have these big issues that some boards can have,
Right. Yeah.
So that's good. It's working.
That's so great. That's wonderful. What is the thing that you're right now the most passionate about with your development, with the church's development?
I think I'm tickled that we have a good group of students, and they really seem to be spiritually seeking, spiritually minded, wanting to make a difference in the world, in their lives, in the world. And that's inspiring too, so I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to meet like-minded people. I pray for that the church fills with like-minded people, spiritual seeking people, people that are helpful, kind, compassionate, and and it's an affirmation that we want, and that work well together and bring comfort and solace,
Beautiful.
and that's what I think that we have.
You do. You really have created it there. It's very exciting. Very exciting. Any new things coming up in the church, or anything on your wish list that you'd like to create?
There's always something on the horizon that we try to work on as we're coming out of COVID more and more. I'm sure we're going to have more and more outside UK meetings come back. So this summer we'll have Claudia Zuko and Bill Collier, but on Zoom, because they bought a place in Lilydale. They were going to come. We have Dominic Bogue, who's quite big now. He's coming back in August.
Nice.
Just to be here. So we'll have, and that brings all people from all over the place. And I think our fairs, we're probably going to do maybe more mini fairs, maybe even at the church when we do Medium's Day. We're always thinking of something. And then I think sometimes we might have look into having, we used to have a lot of guest speakers that we put on a Friday night or something. And they tell a story about what they went through. And so maybe have some people come back, new people or something.
You had Michael Murdat.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic. We'd have him back again, but he's just gone with the wind, sort of expanded his wings, and he has to do less traveling. So we definitely would have him back. He liked it here. We had good praise from him when he came. So
wonderful.
Felt that was really nice. And we've had different artists and Indians, and so we'll look and find, see who might be. I'd love to have Eben Alexander, the Proof of Heaven.
Yes,
that would be, to look for that, or maybe some of the Stan said, mediums come. Who knows?
It'd be exciting. Yeah. So you've been working tirelessly for a long time, and I could see how much you love the church and are so passionate about it.
Yeah, and what I like now too is more people. The more students we have, it's nice to see everybody go out, and we're blossoming. People are coming. There'll be more working together. I can leave and have students. Well, they're not students anymore. They're certified mediums, and
good.
They take over. I could take a Sunday off, and I'm
nice.
so things like that will expand more and more.
I'm sure you would love to. I'm actually taking a look at who's been watching us, and I just wanted to say a shout out. We've got Christine Nagel here, Mary Lucille Glynn. Comes to the church often. Karen Gillis, Laura Joseph, and Suzanne Nickerson. And says she's so happy
Oh,
to
yes,
hear you
Suzanne.
talk. And Suzanne, Laura Joseph, Raylene says hello. Raylene Souza, remember?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Laura Rubio
Hi.
and Loretta Gorski, Bernie Promise,
Oh, Bernie,
and
okay.
yeah, Bernie and Diane.
Loretta and
Yeah, Terry Toner, Jennifer Marie Berry, Jody Pinard, and Barbara
wonderful.
Clinton and Michael Liberty. So it's a beautiful little group. Barbara Clinton, do you know Barbara Clinton?
I must.
Yeah,
I must. It's just
yeah.
not ringing. I'd have to see her face.
Yeah. Oh, I know, me too. But anyway, we've had Dorothy, I think here's another little one down here. But I feel like people are just really having a blast. If anyone has, Dottie is here watching.
Dottie Sinclair?
Raposa. Do you remember Dottie
Dottie,
Raposa?
yes, Dottie Raposa. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dottie. Yeah.
So you have a nice following, Kathleen. It's very,
Oh, yeah. Well, you do. I mean, it's your
Yeah.
podcast.
Well,
So-
I would love some time to have more deeper conversation about the natural laws, because I feel like you really know them and understand them. And I think in spiritualism, that's the biggest thing, is following, like you said earlier, following the natural laws. But I also feel like sometimes, what are they? I mean, there's so many of them. And
there's more that we don't even know about, possibly, there's thousands.
Yeah. So this
that
kind,
goes-
there's a sense of like, well, there's stuff I don't know. So that would be a very cool conversation to have at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just, so that you know, Nancy, in the courses, we have all the natural, they go from the history of spiritualism, the history of the church, and every step of the way, what spiritualism is, goes
Mhm.
on and on and on. So even if people just take the course, you get so much out of it. You learn so much. And in the development classes, you learn a lot too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the overall courses too. I know that you can get really excited about developing the mediumship or developing the healing, but to understand the whole broad base of spiritualism is pretty astounding, pretty amazing.
It is, and how it starts. I mean, just if anybody just sits in a healer's chair and a beautiful experience that they feel, and it's just there's so many gifts. So when it comes, person could just come here and not understand it, but experience something and uplifting.
Mhm. Oh,
And,
absolutely. So
yeah.
I hope we're getting down close to a full hour. You must be.
Oh wow!
Doesn't it go by fast? But I did
Yeah.
want to say, it's really encouraging people. Onset, the First Spiritual Church of Onset is just kind of at the base of the Onset is just before you get onto the Cape. So it is southern
Local
Boston.
village in
or
Wareham.
village.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And the services are in the evening at 6:30. You can get there around
6:30.
6. People are starting to come in.
Yeah.
And especially this summer, try, go to the wigwam in the morning and come to
Yeah.
Onset.
A lot of
in
people
the
do.
evening.
Yeah.
And really experience the depth of spiritualism. Each one has their different experiences, but see Kathleen, Reverend Kathleen Church, I really recommend it. And do you have any final words or things that you would like?
Well, I just want to say that I'm proud to be here. Many people like Gladys and Kenneth and all those that followed that were assistant co-pastors and everybody that took a place in this church, in the development I'm just taking the light and extending it on, and there'll be others that will do the same. So this church in itself has been blessed by thousands and thousands and very famous people. Edgar Casey, Emmett Fox walked through this church here. In the 1950s, they made the basement downstairs and named it after Kenneth's guide at the Abbot. And so there's a lot of history, and they did a lot of unbelievable things. They've manifested from spirit, the trumpets they've had history. Slates were written on. I have to say that there's been very and we're not supposed to call them miracles, but I have a Catholic background. To me, they're miracles. Some amazing evidence that there is continuity of life and spirit is right with us at all times.
Just
So that's what
a little bit. You brought in trumpets and slates, and for those people who don't know what trumpets and slates are, could you describe them a little bit?
So I can actually show you a trumpet, but I don't know where my person put them. It is aluminum, and a trumpet has been used to for spirit, the ectoplasm that we all have and that's in the environment is used to uplift the trumpet, and spirit can actually speak through the trumpet, touch you with it. They come in, and there's also table tipping where, see, and I don't want to scare people that might, but I think everybody on here knows all about this. But we've had like 52 tables here tipping from spirit, and you communicate with spirit, through the letters, the alphabet. And we've had a lot of spiritual phenomena, transfiguration, where spirit is exposed through the ectoplasm, transforms over the medium space, and one person after the other comes in. So these are things that have happened through this history of this church and continues. So there's so much you can do, and so much evidence that spirit can give you.
That's exciting. I hope you start having those evenings again, or those presentations again. I'm really looking forward to that, and then we can get out more and more, see what spirit has been waiting to tell us while we've been all kind of cloistered in.
Yes,
thank you.
Definitely.
So I want to bring to a close, and we'll talk about maybe doing another one, Kathleen, later on.
Sure.
Especially interested in, and somebody else mentioned that the programs that you're teaching that you and Mary and Jason developed, we could talk about that a little bit more, and and see if people are interested in that, and maybe, I don't know if you teach it online or anything like that, or
we're not right now. We send the lessons through the email. And then we meet on Zoom.
Okay,
and we do each lesson together, so you're not left out there. Prior, the Morse Pratt and all that, you're kind of left on your own. No, I don't want to sound like I'm putting them down, because it's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
All the lessons are great. But the difference might be that we've implemented at our church is that we meet one way or another, either in person or on Zoom with the student, and we go over it together, and we finish the questions together, so that you are disciplined. You have people promoting you to stay with it, stick with it. So everybody goes through it together and finishes it, and has their test together, and there we go.
There you go.
Voila, at the end. Yeah.
That's lovely. We'll talk more about that.
Sure.
But I want to thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you for having me, Nancy. That was very nice of you. Really, I appreciate it. We appreciate it as the church, and
absolutely. And I so appreciate you speaking out about, bringing, explaining spiritualism, explaining what a great service this church offers the community, and just there's so many miracles within the church, and there's nothing to be afraid of. It's all just God and source, and saying we love you and you're not alone, and thank you for helping to spread that word.
Yes,
and,
thank you. Thank you,
now,
Nancy.
you're so welcome. And for now, I'm just going to close the episode. I want to remind everybody that Angelscapes podcast is about bringing in tools to help you grow in your spiritual world, and and learn to live in a soul-powered life that will open up your creativity and enhance how you look at things. And so reach out to all of the people that I interview on these podcasts. They're all accessible, they're all available, and it's a great adventure. So for now, know that you're blessed by spirit, stay safe, and keep happy. And we will see you next time.
And thank you, Nancy, for what you do. That's fantastic.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.